Information presented on this program and by its guest is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice, but are limited to the dissemination of general information and may not be suitable for members of the listening audience. A professional advisor, attorney, or tax professional should be consulted before implementing any of the strategies presented.
Are you retired or getting close? Welcome to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally, where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live your dream retirement. Are there challenges on the way? You bet. Inflation, the economy, and the ups and downs of today's markets will try to rob you of your dreams. But take heart and take notes, because what you're about to learn will put you on the winning side of life for the rest of your life. Now, here's the host of Retirement Lifestyles, Patrick McNally.
Hello everybody, Patrick McNally here, your favorite financial advisor. Hey, I want to welcome you to the Retirement Lifestyle Show, where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom to live your dream retirement. If you are already retired or you're getting close and you own a retirement account like an IRA or a 401k, a 403b, one of those types of retirement accounts, then this is the show for you. Thanks for tuning in. What I'm going to do today is I'm here to talk about money. Specifically, talking about your investments, your retirement planning, estate planning, insurance, and everybody's favorite, taxes. You're going to find out how to set up your investments to provide the number one thing you need to plan for in retirement, and that is income. And even better than that, I want to share some ways on how you can get some tax-free income, because that's the best. I want to teach you how to achieve what I call tax freedom in retirement so that you don't have to worry about Uncle Sam changing all the rules, which he does all the time, and coming out for your retirement savings just because he can't balance his own checkbook and afford all of his unfunded promises. He wants to come and try to take yours. Well, you need to know the rules, and I'm going to help you navigate those waters. You see, for over 22 years now, I've helped people just like you plan for an amazing retirement. But what I've found is that most people worry. They worry in retirement. They worry right before they get to retirement, especially. They want to make sure that they've done everything right, that they're not going to run out of money in retirement. And I've been doing this for a long, long time, and that is what I hear. They also worry about their income, healthcare, inflation, the stock market going up and down, and higher taxes. Well, I'm here to tell you it's time for the worry to stop. And the best way to make it stop is with a plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you build your plan and guide you through this giant maze that we call retirement planning. So today on the show, I am going to head into the part of financial planning that we often refer to as risk management, and that can also be called insurance. But specifically, I want to go into long-term care planning. Now, for most of us, I think we would agree, the last place any of us want to go to on the planet is a long-term care facility or a nursing home. But the fact is, with today's medical technology, we're living longer, and that's just a fact. But just because we're living longer doesn't necessarily mean that we're able to live on our own, without some help. And that's just what kind of tends to happen. We're going to grow older. We're going to get to that age where we might need some additional help with doing some stuff in life. And quite honestly, the cost of that help can be staggering. So I want to talk to you about some of the options that you have for paying for that type of care. Because quite honestly, healthcare-related expenses, which long-term care falls into, is one of those expenses that could be referred to as one of the number one reasons that we see a lot of bankruptcies in retirement. So I want to talk about that and how you can plan for that. Next, I'm going to go into a few questions and comments in what I call my mailbag segment. And then I'm also going to go into some specific IRA planning news that you need to make the best decisions with your retirement accounts. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up the show with some action items, some of those things that you can be doing, things that you can be implementing right away that I know will help you achieve an amazing retirement. Now, throughout the show, you're going to have the opportunity to receive a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101. You'll also learn how you can schedule a free phone call with me personally to discuss your retirement goals or any investment type of questions that you might have. Want to make sure that you stay on track and you're headed into retirement confident with the clarity and the peace of mind that you want. And right now you can actually, right at the break, I'm going to head into a break, but you can visit patrickmcnally.com and download a free copy of my Survivor's Guide. Been getting a lot of requests for that document to help you get organized, really as a great document for your family. So you can go do that right now at patrickmcnally.com. Okay, I'm getting excited. Here's what to do next. Go refill that coffee, grab your pen and notepad, and I'll be back in about
2 minutes. Don't touch that dial. Patrick will be right back.
Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute, but I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm going to head into an area in risk management that we refer to as long-term care. And then obviously, risk management, we're talking about insurance, whether that's health insurance or life insurance, final expense, disability, those types of things kind of fall under that heading of risk management. But today I'm going to talk about long-term care and the importance of making sure that you have a plan for that, because most people don't, to be quite honest. Most people's plan is just to self-pay for it. And if you've never heard of long-term care is when you need help with what we call activities of daily living. And it's just the everyday things that we do in life. It's the things like walking, bathing, dressing, feeding ourselves, going to the bathroom. As we get to a certain age, we tend to need help with one or two of those things. Not typically all of those things all at once, but one or two of those things is very, very normal. Honestly, long-term care, it can happen even to young people if you get into a car accident or, God forbid, and become, to the point where you can't take care of yourself. That is considered long-term care. Most people think that Medicare or Medi-Cal or something like that is going to pay for that. Medicare does not. Medi-Cal you will typically pay for it, but only after you've spent down most of your assets to cover it. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that piece today. What I want to specifically go over is, what is long-term care? What are the costs? What are the risks involved? And how can you, put push that risk off of yourself and put it onto like an insurance company. And obviously that's what, when we refer to risk management, you're managing this type of risk. And quite honestly, most people just kind of assume it's not going to happen to me. That's happens to other people. But I'm just going to be able to stay in my own house for the rest of my life and then pass away peacefully in my sleep. Well, that's how we all want to go. But actually, the government tells us that on average, someone will need that type of care for 3 years. That's on average. And quite honestly, you got a 50% chance of needing that type of care. So when we look at assessing the risks out in the real world, you face choices all the time, and what do you want to insure? Like, for example, the chance of your house being damaged by a fire, being completely wiped out, is about 1 in 96. And the nationwide median home price is probably close to about $300,000. And, we insure for that. Now, what about a car? What about a car accident? We got to have car insurance. What are your chances of being in an accident where you probably will total your car? Well, the national average tells us it's about 1 in 5. The averages also tell us that you have a 50-50, 1 out of 2 chance of needing long-term care type of services or spending time in a long-term care facility. And catch this, the average price for staying in a facility can be close to $100,000 per year, per person. $100,000. And it's all pretty much dependent on where you live. If you live in like a major metropolitan area, maybe like a San Diego or San Francisco or, a metro type of area, you could probably find some care for cheaper, because you have a lot of choices. But what if you live in Alaska? I actually did this. I haven't done it in a while. I actually looked at some of the prices for living in Alaska, and I kid you not, for a year of care in Alaska, it's close to $250,000 a year because they don't have enough people there with that kind of expertise to take care of people. So, what do? Well, most people, they have to spend down what they've accumulated in assets over their entire life. And what I'm talking about is your retirement account. So when you look at how you plan for long-term care, what you're essentially doing is finding ways to protect what took you 30 or 40 years to build, to sacrifice for. And I'm talking about your IRAs, your savings, your 401ks, all of that stuff. So what exactly qualifies for long-term care? What does that even mean? Long-term care describes, like I mentioned before, kind of those daily activities, daily medical and non-medical services that people might need if they become physically or mentally disabled due to a prolonged injury or an illness or even a cognitive impairment like Alzheimer's or dementia. There's about 12 million Americans today that currently need long-term care, and not all of them, honestly, are elderly. But of course, people age and they become more likely to develop health problems and need that assistance. And with medical technology today, we're living longer, but maybe not necessarily as healthy as we want to be. And did you know that actually 2/3 of single people and 1/3 of married couples will exhaust their funds after just 13 weeks in a nursing home? And within 2 years, 90% of people would be bankrupt. So, most people were recognizing that they might need that type of help, or at least they've had a parent or they know somebody that has needed that type of help. But again, there's kinds of different levels for this type of care. You may not need 24-hour-a-day care 7 days a week. That's when it's the most expensive. You may need just some help maybe in an assisted living facility or part-time care in a nursing home or something like that. On average, they tell us that the cost per day is going to run you about $150 to $250 a day for that type of care. And in an assisted living facility, the national median monthly rate is right around $3,500, $4,000 a month. And those costs just continue to go up. I think I read the other day that that healthcare inflation costs run closer to about 5% per year, and they just go up and up. And long-term care, it often kind of begins with like simple household chores and then might end with people really needing, full-time care, going through different stages like adult daycare, home care, assisted living again, custodial care in a nursing home. Now, I personally, and I think most people I talk to, they're like, I want to have care in my own home. That's where I would want to be. I want to sleep in my own bed and watch my own TV. And that's when people oftentimes will hire private help to come out and take care of them in their own home. So the next question you got to ask yourself is, how can I afford to pay for this? And that's what I want to get to in the next segment is, what are the choices that you have to pay for this type of care? Because right now, most people are just set up to do what we call self-insuring, which is paying the tab yourself. So when I come back, I'm going to get into the ways that you can pay for that. If you haven't already, I want you to visit patrickmcnally.com. Go there and you can download a free copy of my book and a free copy of your Survivor's Guide. And I'll be back in 2 minutes.
You're listening to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in retirement is healthcare-related costs. So fitness needs to be a part of your financial planning. Check out my gym, Strong City Strength and Conditioning, right down on Victor Avenue. They have a new group class called Longevity on Tuesdays and Thursdays, designed for people age 55 and better. If you want to have fun and get fit, then visit strongcitystrengthandconditioning.com. That's strongcitystrengthandconditioning.com. Mention the show and get your first week for free. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show today. I'll be back in just a few minutes, but if you haven't had the chance to get your free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, this is a great time to do it. Well, unless you're driving. In that case, remember this website and visit it when you get home. patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. This book has all the tips and strategies that I talk about each week on the show. It's 8 easy-to-read chapters that you can probably finish in a few short hours and then implement right away. I show you how to set up a predictable, safe, and consistent retirement income, how to understand what rates of return you need to protect your life savings, how to plan ahead for the major proposed cuts to your Social Security checks, and much more. Consider this book your personal guide to navigating retirement safely. Order your free copy today at patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. Say it with me one more time, patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Okay guys, thank you for sticking with me here. Welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles. If you're just joining me, this is the show where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom to live your dream retirement. I am your host, Patrick McNally, and today I'm talking about long-term care in my risk management segments here, and we're going to launch right back into that, specifically on the 3 main ways that you can pay for long-term care. Now, if you're just joining us, long-term care is that situation where you may need to go into a nursing home or assisted living or have care come out to your home, and it can be ridiculously expensive to have that type of care, anywhere from $150 to $250 a day. Let's just call that, I won't make you do the math, let's call it $80,000 to $100,000 a year or more, depending on where you live. So it is something that has to be planned for, because quite honestly, as far as insurance is concerned, it really is the one where you have the highest percentage chance of needing it. And that's what I talked about in that first segment. The odds of having a claim on your homeowner's insurance because your house burned down is like almost 1 in 96. The odds of being in a full, complete total of your car for a car accident is about 1 in 5. Well, you've got a 50-50 chance, 1 in 2 chance of needing long-term care. So if you're married, just go ahead and stare at your spouse real quick and go, not it. Nope, it's you, not me. No, don't do that. But seriously, if you are married, one of you, there's a high probability that one of you will need this type of care for an average of 3 years. So do the math, man. $100,000 a year for 3 years. Let me get my calculator out real quick. Now, it's $300,000. $300,000 just for that type of care. And most people, unfortunately, they do what's my number one way to pay for this, which is called self-insure. And this is usually the plan for a lot of people. They're going to pay for it themselves. Well, let's talk about that. What does it look like when you go to pay for this yourself? Where does the money come from? First and foremost, the money is going to come from your savings. And the savings could include your 401k, your IRA, bank savings, CDs at the bank. You take all the cash that you have, and that's where the care is going to come from, to the tune of about $8,000 a month. You do the math on how long your savings will last. A lot of people, you've got IRAs out there that you're counting on to pay you an income to have fun in retirement. Most people aren't counting on using their IRA to pay for long-term care. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, that's the case. So you think through this and you go, gosh, you sacrificed for 30, 40, heck, maybe even 50 years working at a job, working for a company or maybe multiple companies. The point is you sacrificed to put money away. You put it in the market. You took the risk. You grew it. And that money was designed for your retirement. And think about the fact that you could blow through what took you 30 or 40 years to accumulate in 3 years or less. Mind-boggling. It's actually the number one reason that most retirees go bankrupt, because they pay for this type of care, and within 2 years or so, 90% of people are bankrupt because they haven't taken a little bit of time to plan for this or how it might affect them. Because once you burn through your money, there are some rules that you can spend down enough that you can qualify for Medi-Cal, and that's what we call it here in California. Because we're Californians, we got to be different. Everywhere else they call it Medicaid, and that's our nation's welfare system to help pay for these types of things. And I did not say Medicare. Medicare does not pay for long-term care. A lot of people mistakenly think that it does, but no, Medicare is designed for medically necessary care. Doctors, hospitals, office visits, stuff like that. Long-term care isn't necessarily medically necessary. It's called custodial care. It's the type of care that you need for activities of daily living. Walking, bathing, going to the bathroom, dressing, getting in and out of a bed or a chair. Those are called ADLs, activities of daily living. And so when you think about needing that type of care, maybe you know somebody who's needed that type of care. Maybe a parent has been in an assisted living facility or a full-blown nursing home or received home care. Well, that's the type of care that most likely they needed. Or maybe you've cared for somebody in your family. We see that a lot. We're taking care of parents maybe, and that is a hard job to do. And so most people will hire a professional that can do that. Well, you're paying for that yourself, and that's what we call self-insuring. Usually that's the worst way. Honestly, you guys, the worst way to pay for that. Next in line is you can buy what's called long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance was designed, came out way back in the 70s, was designed to pay for these exact costs, to pay a daily benefit to help pay for those costs, anywhere from $150, $250 a day. These policies they're so customizable. I'm not even going to attempt to talk about them to too much detail, but they are designed to have different amounts that they pay on a daily basis. You can configure them to pay for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, for life. There's all kinds of things you can do, but they are designed for this. Now, the problem with traditional long-term care insurance, it is expensive. Really expensive. And it's the type of insurance that you pay into and you might not need. listen, I've been talking about the fact that you might need it and you got a big chance of needing it, but, maybe you'll go like we all want to go, which is peacefully, quickly in our sleep, and you might not need it at all. But here's the deal. You may pay on a long-term care policy for 20 years. You pass away peacefully in your sleep. The company is not going to turn around and return all of those premiums. Now, here's the caveat. You could pay even more. You could pay extra for options where you do get a return of premium, but then you're just talking ridiculous amounts of money. And so long-term care was really, really popular for a long, long time, but kind of went away because people didn't like that type of policy that didn't pay them something. Well, now we have life insurance that includes long-term care types of benefits. So it's kind of a win-win. You pay for a life insurance policy that if you pass away peacefully in your sleep, well, guess what? Your family gets a tax-free death benefit paid to them in the form of life insurance. But should you need that type of care, that long-term care, type of care, you can do what's called accelerating your death benefit, which is a living benefit. You draw on the life insurance proceeds to pay for long-term care. There are annuities that can do this as well. I personally, as an advisor, like using the life insurance policies for that reason, that if you pay into these things and you never use it, well, your family gets a nice chunk of money to use for other things or for their estate. So if you got questions about that, I would love to talk to you. You can visit talktopatrick.com, schedule a time on my calendar, and ask me any questions that you have, and would love to visit with you about long-term care. If you haven't yet, I want you to visit patrickmcnally.com, download a free copy of my Survivor's Guide, and you can also get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101. Okay, when I return here in about 2 minutes, I'm going to go into my mailbag segment where I answer questions from you, the listening audience, and also from online forums like on Facebook, some of the retiree groups that I'm a part of. Great questions, great comments. You don't want to miss it. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Don't touch that dial. Patrick will be right back.
Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute. But I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
You've heard me say it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedoms you need to live your dream retirement. When it comes to the health side, I want to tell you about my family's personal chiropractor, Dr. Todd Royce, owner of Chiropractic First. Not only does he adjust us and get us back to our active lives, he teaches us about ongoing nutrition and living healthier. If you have any pain or stiffness in your back or neck, I want you to call Chiropractic First today at 243-0889. Mention Patrick for a free consultation. You don't need to live with pain or discomfort anymore. Call Dr. Todd at 243-0889 or visit online at chirofirst.net.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Hello. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining me, this is Retirement Lifestyles. I am your host, Patrick McNally. I'm also the owner of Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, a registered investment advisory firm located right here in Northern California. And we've been open for 22 years, serving retirees looking for help with retirement planning, or if you're already in retirement. So this is the point of the show where I want to talk about my mailbag segment, which is what I like to call it. If you've listened to the show before, you've heard me talk about that. I'm a part of a few groups on Facebook, and they're just awesome groups. And I'll give you the name of them here in just a minute, but I love some of the comments, I love some of the questions, and a lot of the questions that they come up with are the stuff that I've been hearing for over 22 years. So I figured I'd just take it from the horse's mouth, bring it to you guys, and if you're out there thinking the same thing, well, maybe I can answer a question for you. Before I jump into it, though, I want to mention, if you haven't had a chance, I want to give you a copy of my Survivor's Guide, and it's about a 28-page document. It's free. You can download it. It's an organizational tool, and it's really for the people that you leave behind someday on this planet. It gives them a roadmap to be able to find where all your important documents are, even maybe, from down to passwords to get into your computer, what banks you used, what were the bank account numbers. Now, this is all stuff you don't need to give them while you're alive, but they need to know about it. They need to know where, a copy of this document can be found. And let me tell you what, it will make their lives so much easier. It'll be amazing. And this is a document I gave to my parents years ago, and they filled it out initially, but along the way, they had failed, unfortunately, to amend it, and that's partially my fault for not reminding them to update it. And my mom passed away. It'll be 6 years in March, and one of the things that we ran into was simply trying to get onto her laptop. Silly little things like that, just to maybe change her email and things. So this document can really, really help your loved ones, and I want to give you a free copy. Visit patrickmcnally.com, patrickmcnally.com, and I put it right there at the front of the page. That's my newest document that I'm giving away for free. So go grab you a copy right now. So let's jump into some of these mailbag items. And this group on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, I want to highly encourage you to check out the group. One of them is called Retired or Thinking Retirement. They've got over 26,000 members, and such a fun group to check out. I've been with them for years, and chime in as much as I can and give advice where I'm allowed to. But I just love reading some of these questions, and even funnier some of the comments. So one that kind of stuck out to me was this one. How many couples out there have mutual hobbies? What are they? Did you discover something to do together after retirement, or was it already something you had in common? The stuff we do together is what hubby likes versus my likes, except going to the gym. Hubby calls it the torture chamber, LOL. I thought that kind of stood out to me. That was kind of fun, and just kind of gets me thinking about some of the mutual hobbies I have with my wife. And one of the newest hobbies that we have is playing golf. She, if you've ever listened to my show before, you know I'm a big golfer. A member at a couple of the clubs here in my hometown, as a matter of fact, and love to get out there on the golf course. And my wife, Maggie, she has taken to the game. She's played before, and she's a natural athlete. I mean, she can literally sit down a golf club for 15 years, pick it up, and hit it straight down the middle of the fairway. It's how good she is. It's sickening. But anyway, we have taken that up again, and she is more and more getting into it now that we have a little more time. My kids are in the later years of high school. Can't believe I'm saying that out loud. But we do have some fun doing that. I think it's super important to have a hobby like that with your spouse, or with somebody, especially in retirement when you've got the time. Some of the answers that some of the people on here did. One lady said, "We do lots of hobbies together, like hiking, which is mine, but he still enjoys it. Gardening, which is mine, but he enjoys it. Car shows, which is his, but I enjoy it. Riding in the 1971 Z, his, but I enjoy. Dog shows, which is mine, but he likes it. Kayaking, we learn together. We just seem to like spending time together and trying new things." I really like that answer. That's a cool one. Especially, We like spending time together and trying new things. I think that's one of the things I hear a lot from a lot of my clients is once they got to retirement, they got to try a bunch of stuff that they'd been putting off forever just because they didn't have the time to do it. And they're super excited, and I love hearing the stories, and they send me pictures, and it's just a lot of fun to see them doing that. Let's see a couple of more answers here. Let me click on some of these more of these answers. We love last-minute day trips. Ed and I call them adventures. And we're on our way to Old Town Fredericksburg to check out some history and antique shops. Fun day. Super fun, super fun. So I'm going to encourage you guys to, find some mutual hobbies, discover something brand new to do together, and do some of those things that you've talked about forever, and maybe you just kind of waited for to get to retirement, and now it sounds like you should be able to hopefully do those things. The next question I want to chime in on here, she wrote, how many in the group are living comfortably on Social Security alone? Wow, I thought that was a very interesting question. I thought it was kind of just a blunt question, like, hey, I would obviously guess maybe that she is living on Social Security alone, but how many people out there are able to make that work? Because Social Security, was designed not to be your only source of income, but was designed really to be there as a safety net in your older age on top of some of your other income sources, whether that's a pension or savings or things like that. And scrolling through some of the answers, we can see that a couple of people, some people write a book on here, so I'm not going to read all of those, but one person said here, even without a mortgage, there is still house insurance and property taxes. Doesn't everybody have property taxes? Those two expenses alone would eat up about $550 a month. And I don't have the stat right in front of me, but I think I remember reading one time that the average Social Security check was about $1,200 a month. And, if you can make that work, definitely worth trying to make that work. I would think that maybe a lot of people would consider maybe having a side gig or some type of an extra job or something like that, because Social Security, unfortunately, doesn't keep up a whole lot with inflation. And that would be my main concern for a lot of people is the costs of goods and services. Now, there is a cost of living adjustment, but it usually lags behind. Plus, any cost of living adjustments usually offset by your Part B Medicare deductible. So it's kind of a false sense of a raise, in my opinion. So I would, if somebody ever asked me about that, I would say, it's possible to do that if you're completely debt-free. But on top of that, I would say if you're able to, maybe consider some part-time work or even some kind of a side gig that, I've seen a lot of people who drive an Uber, but that's got to be a choice at this point. So very cool. So that's my mailbag segment. I got to take another break. When I come back, I'm going to be heading into some thoughts on IRA changes and some of the new news that have come out and about from the new Secure 2.0 Act. So stick with me. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Smooth. You're listening to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally.
Did you know that when I'm not here doing the show, I run Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, an independent registered investment advisory firm specializing in retirement income planning and managing investments for people who are currently retired or are getting close. I've been in financial services for over 22 years now and hosted this show for over 10. With a little bit of good planning, you can have peace of mind and a great retirement, and I'd love to help. If you would like to get more information or to learn about how you can work with us, visit patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show today. I'll be back in just a few minutes, but if you haven't had the chance to get your free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, this is a great time to do it. Well, unless you're driving. In that case, remember this website and visit it when you get home. PatrickMcNally.com. That's PatrickMcNally.com. This book has all the tips and strategies that I talk about each week on the show. It's 8 easy-to-read chapters that you can probably finish in a few short hours and then implement right away. I show you how to set up a predictable, safe, and consistent retirement income, how to understand what rates of return you need to protect your life savings, how to plan ahead for the major proposed cuts to your Social Security checks, and much more. Consider this book your personal guide to navigating retirement safely. Order your free copy today at PatrickMcNally.com. That's PatrickMcNally.com. Say it with me one more time, PatrickMcNally.com. Okay, guys, welcome back to the show. Patrick McNally here, your favorite financial advisor. This is Retirement Lifestyles, where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom to live your dream retirement. If you missed any of the show, there's a number of places where you can go to pick it up. First and foremost, you can go to my website. You can go to patrickmcnally.com. Up in the right-hand corner, you can click on podcast and radio show, and you'll find them there. If you do like podcasts, however, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on, where else? Audible. You can find us on iTunes, Google, all the major podcasts. Pick it up. Just do a search for Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally. You'll find the show. We've gone through a lot today. This next segment, I want to talk about specifically IRA accounts, retirement accounts, and when it comes to the Secure Act 2.0, there's been a number of changes, and it seems like new changes are coming out all the time. And so I want to keep you guys up to speed on some of the stuff that's happening. And the one I want to talk to you about today is super interesting, and this has to do with 529 plans. And 529 plans, just a quick review. These are the types of plans. These offer a great opportunity to pay for college. You can also pay for K through 12 tuition, student loan repayments, and nearly every state offers at least one of these types of plans. And the most popular type of 529 plans are college savings plans. And basically, you take after-tax contributions that are invested in mutual funds or ETFs, stuff like that, that are offered under the plan, and all of those earnings grow tax-free. And then once the student or the beneficiary of that account gets to college or something like that, they can withdraw from that account 100% tax-free if the money is used for qualified educational expenses. And you may also be able to take a state tax deduction for at least part of the contribution as well. So one of the questions that's been coming up a lot is, there's a new provision in the Secure 2.0 that says that 529s, it's allowing tax-free rollovers from 529 plans to Roth IRAs. Super interesting. This is new. This is a new rollover opportunity, but we want to look at this with a fine, with a like a microscope, with a magnifying glass, because although it sounds pretty exciting, there are a number of restrictions that may limit the actual appeal for this. But it just kind of, when I read this, it really got me thinking about, like, if you started a 529, say for your grandkids or something like that a long time ago, and then the whole thing about this is that if the beneficiary, the child, for example, doesn't use the money to go to college, if you spend that money on anything else, it's 100% taxed, and there's a 10% tax penalty if you're under 59.5 when you use the money. So it's kind of interesting that they're now going to allow 529s to be rolled over into a Roth IRA. So let's take a peek at this and see how deep we can go. Because that's a big deal. A lot of times parents, they just don't wind up using the entire account. Maybe the kid gets a scholarship. This is real interesting to me right now because I've got a senior out at Foothill, and she has applied to a bunch of colleges, and so this is kind of like hitting home right now about scholarships and grants and all that stuff to get her off to school. But if you withdraw those funds again, I want to reiterate, if you don't use those for educational expenses, the earnings in that account are subject to income tax and a 10% penalty. So there could be a big risk of unused funds. So this could be a big deal for a number of people. So back in December 29, 2022 is when Secure 2.0 was signed into law. Congress, when I say they, attempted to address the problem. And so now starting in 2024, beneficiaries of 529 savings accounts, for example, the kids, so not the parent or the grandparents who may have set up these accounts originally, they don't get to put this like into their Roth. This has to be set up in the name of the kids. So that's one of the caveats. And they're allowed to do tax-free rollovers of up to $35,000, but not all at once. So here's the deal. It's like the devil's in the details here. That $35,000 is a lifetime maximum. The Roth IRA must be in the name, again, of the 529 beneficiary, not the owner, if different. The 529 plan must have been open for more than 15 years. And what's not clear is whether a new 15-year waiting period is required when someone changes 529 beneficiaries, or if that waiting period applies to the prior beneficiary. Anyway, we'll get some clarification. We'll let you know on that. Rollover amounts cannot include any 529 contributions and earnings on those contributions made in the preceding 5-year period. Okay, so this is getting kind of interesting. Rollovers are subject to the annual Roth IRA contribution limit. Okay, so for example, if the Roth IRA contribution limit in 2024 remains at $6,500, then no more than $6,500 can be rolled from a 529 to a Roth IRA in 2024. Further, any actual Roth IRA contributions made by the 529 beneficiary would count against the $6,500 limit. The effect of this rule is that a full $35,000 529 to Roth IRA rollover would need to be done over several years. Also means that the 529 beneficiary doing the rollover must have compensation in that year, at least equal to the amount being rolled over. So kind of a lot of rules and stuff in here, but could be really cool because I did some math on this. So you figure if you did this and say the kid is now 20 and you did the full max $35,000 and you just said, okay, you got it, you did it over the years, $35,000 went into the account, and then you just say leave it alone for 40 years. Now they're 60 years old, and let's just say they were able to earn 7% a year on that money. If they never put anything back into it, they would essentially have $527,000 at the end, tax-free. That'd be pretty cool. Now, what if they added $6,500 a year to that and just kept this thing growing? Well, instead of $527,000, they've got $1.8 million tax-free when they get to retirement. So, guys, there could be some really cool planning here that, is probably kind of a small, portion of the population, but still, that is pretty cool when you think about, how the compounding growth for kids, could be. So if you're a grandparent out there, or, you're a parent out there and you're listening to this and you're like, man, we've had those 529s forever, and Junior decided they don't want to go to school. Well, here's a way that you could hook Junior up with a Roth IRA, get them going, roll that money over until it's finally, 100% into their Roth, and then encourage Junior to make contributions to that Roth until they get to to retirement, and there could be some buku bucks in there that can come out tax-free. So if you got questions about that, I want you to schedule a call. Go to go to talktopatrick.com. That's talktopatrick.com, and schedule a call with me. When I come back, I'm going to wrap this show up and give you some action items that you can implement right away. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute, but I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Did you know that when I'm not here doing the show, I run Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, an independent registered investment advisory firm specializing in retirement income planning and managing investments for people who are currently retired or are getting close. I've been in financial services for over 22 years now and hosted this show for over 10. With a little bit of good planning, you can have peace of mind and a great retirement, and I'd love to help. If you would like to get more information or to learn about how you can work with us, visit patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com.
Welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles.
Okay, guys, we made it. We are in the wrap-up segment. Again, if you're just joining me, well, shame on you. You should have joined me 1 hour ago, and you could have heard the whole show. Ha! If you are just joining me, this is the tail end of Retirement Lifestyles, and I'm Patrick McNally, also the owner of Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, and you can catch this show by visiting patrickmcnally.com. It'll be up there in a couple of days at least, or you can podcast. If you like podcasts, you can find it on iTunes, Google, Spotify, all the major carriers. But I'm going to wrap up. I want to give you 2 action items today that you can take with you. In the first part of the show, we talked about long-term care insurance and long-term care planning as part of your risk management side of your financial planning. And we talked about the number of ways that you can pay for long-term care. My tip is simply this: have a plan for long-term care, something that everybody's on board with. And I'll just reiterate the 3 main ways to pay for long-term care are self-pay, which is when you're just going to use your own money and hopefully you don't run out and qualify for state aid. But you use your own money for that. But if that's your plan, that's your plan. Number 2, buy traditional long-term care insurance. It's super expensive to do that, but it could be a good plan for people who want pure insurance to pay for. That's what that insurance was designed to do. The third way is to do some of the newer policies like life insurance that combine life insurance with long-term care like coverage. Because the number one gripe about long-term care insurance is that you pay into those things all all those years, you pass away peacefully in your sleep, and then they don't, pay the money back to your family. So with life insurance, at least your family can get a tax-free benefit. So could be a way to look at it. You can also use annuities with long-term care type of coverage, but the important thing is to have a plan, make sure your family's on board so there's no surprises when the time comes. Next in line is pass down your financial knowledge to the younger generation, whether that's your grandkids or, I don't know, maybe you teach a Sunday school class or something and you're sewing into kids' lives. One way to do that is with finances. Finances are a part of everyone's life. They affect every single person, no matter who you are, and unfortunately, they're just not really taught in school. So we need you out there teaching the younger generation, telling them about some of the things you even learn on here, like that 529 to a Roth IRA. That could be a life changer for kids. So I want you to think about that, and you can really do a lot of good sewing into the younger generation, teaching them things now that maybe even you didn't know about. Okay, guys, that's it for the show. If you haven't grabbed your free copy of Retirement Planning 101, go to patrickmcnally.com right now. That's my book, Retirement Planning 101. I got a free copy waiting for you. Go right now and get it, and I'll be at it again next week. I'm wishing you the best in retirement.
Have you seen